my billboard idea flopped. And I thought it was going to be one of the best ideas that we'd done yet. In this video, I'm going to outline some of the thought process behind it and why I think it did work or it didn't work, and how I'm going to use that going forward in terms of making and producing and shipping more stuff. In Allegiant Santa Monica, we've got a billboard that we basically covered some of our graphic branding on so we could rotate these wheat pasting street posters. And once a quarter, we'll put up a new poster with some sort of branded messaging. And the idea behind this one was in Los Angeles, you know those injured billboards? Injured, call 1-800-JACOB or whatever. Well, there's so many of those, and they're just outrageous. Like, they've got the big, like lawyer like this, injured. And so the idea was like, let's play on something like that, but with strength training. So it's like, hey, don't want to get injured? 1-800-call Allegiant. But for this one, I did a big menacing picture of Tim with this copy at the top that was sure to grab somebody's attention and a QR code in the middle. And I was the most excited about it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought everybody was going to get the joke. And when we put it out there, I got the most negative feedback on that billboard that I've gotten from any of our ideas. Now, on the one hand, I like that a lot because it kind of put people in like, I think this is hilarious and funny and I get it, versus I think this is offensive and I don't like that you put this out there. And I had some people, tell me both. But I just had more people tell me on the negative side of like, I don't like this. This is too negative, right? There's this clip going around online of Rick Rubin talking about make what you want to make.
Yeah, something I say in the book is that the audience comes last, and I believe that. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me, and it turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience.
And don't let the audience in. It's all about creating what you want to create and speaking true to that. And that's exactly what I did with this billboard bit. But frankly, I don't know if I fully agree with Rubin on that, or maybe I'm missing some pieces on it, because when you're constantly making things and shipping things and putting it out there into the world, the audience is playing, it's a conversation, right? And to divorce how you think in the creative process with how it's going to land, I'm not sure I fully agree with that statement. And this kicked off a conversation with my friends on a text thread with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a bunch of sharp guys that we've got on this text thread. And most of them were agreeing with Rubin, no, you can't let that in. Cody, you're thinking about commerce. You're not thinking about art. But what is advertising? What is music? It's the intersection of creativity and commerce. And I think the more you start to actually be a doer and ship things and put stuff out there, you get battle hardened with this stuff that you think is perfect in your head or whatever. And you start putting that baby out into the world and you get real feedback, which is what it takes to actually turn this into a profession. It becomes harder and harder not to think about how is this going to land. I've seen Kanye talking about interviews when he's making a song, he's already thinking about what's the marketing plan going to be of this thing? How am I going to play this live? And so all of this to say obviously Rick Rubin is the most commercially successful music producer ever. I wanted to be Rick Rubin growing up just because every single album that I ever listened to, it seemed like it was connected back to Rubin. So I'm not arguing that you always have to think about the audience when you're making something and you're shipping it. But I'm also not saying that at least me, I can't completely divorce how this is going to land in the creative process. It's ingrained, it's holistic, it's not as linear as that. And I think, in conclusion, how I wrap this up with my friends in the conversation of, if my daughter wants to follow the creative profession and she wants to make something that she wants to make, I'm going to say, make whatever you feel is that thing that you have to make. Emerson talks about this idea and concept of you are your own unique you, and your intuition, all those things, you have to channel that, because that's going to surface the thing that's going to resonate the most, on a commercial scale, or just from a uniqueness standpoint, or just an original piece that needs to exist. You have to trust that intuition. But my other advice, I'd caveat that advice with but know the rules of the game. Know that there's marketing, there's distribution, there's different pieces of this. And it's making the things that you believe should exist and that you want to make, but know how to play the game. Know the other pieces to the puzzle, because if you want to be successful, if you want to make a living out of the things that you make and create, you have to be at this intersection of creativity and commerce, and there's a different set of rules to that game.